Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Paula. We're gonna try on some makeup today and see what we like. We're gonna start with a primer I've already cleaned and moisturized. Today the primer is from Rare Beauty, Makeup Line by Selena Gomez. That's kind of new and popular. I'm just gonna use one pump and show you what it looks like. Try to get it to focus. There you go. It's real kind of iridescent and pearly. One pump's a good amount. I'm a picker, so I have little red bumps on my face. Some of it's just natural, some of it I mess with. I can't help it. I know you shouldn't. I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit, and we're gonna be using the foundation, also from Rare Beauty. You have to shake it up because it has a lot of oil in it, and if you don't shake it, it will spill out. It's not mixed together. They tell you have to shake it. Mine is shade 210N. Focus, Rare Beauty. Just so you see, it's cute packaging. Has a nice large doe foot on it. And she has different techniques. She recommends like dots. I have a little more that I want to cover up, so I actually like to go through some areas and just do some good old swipes because I know I need it. Depends on what kind of coverage you want. If you're looking for something thinner or something with a little more medium coverage, it's not gonna be heavy. I'm using e.l.f. Beauty Sponge, and I'm gonna blend that in. I love the e.l.f. sponge because it's super soft and it's very inexpensive. Some of even the beauty blenders and even the knockoffs, like the Real Techniques, I still think they cost a lot. But these are super cheap. This is a couple dollars. I like to blend a little under the chin line just to make sure we don't get a line anywhere. Flick it around the hair. I don't want it in my hair, but I want it to get up to it. Go between the eyes. I do a little across the eyelid and under the eye, even though I'm going to put a little concealer there. Okay, and I'm going to use my little mirror to look. That looks good. When I get closer, you can see my skin. It definitely doesn't have the red splotchiness. I can see a little bit of my hyperpigmentation spots through the foundation, but like I said, that I will use concealer to fix. Alright, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer today. e.l.f. Eyes, Lips, and Face. And this is in shade Light Peach. And I don't like a lot of concealer because I have little fine lines under my eyes. So if I conceal too heavy, I feel like it looks cakey. So I'll just put a little in here and then a little up this way. Kind of uplifting the eye area. A little down the nose just to lighten the middle of the face. And where I have some of my hyperpigmentation, it's particularly on my left cheek right here, so I like to cover that a little bit, and then I just do a little matching on this cheek so we don't have two light spots. Right now we're going to blend this in with the same sponge. And I like to make sure it's blended really well under the eye and kind of go upwards like this. To everything going upward to give you a real uplifted look. And pull some just down all under the eye. Make sure it matches. always super paranoid about blending under my eye and my little nose creases. I'll take the bottom end to just make sure that blended really well. Still wet, I'm going to take a little brush, just a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm going to use the Belgian Waffle Palette from BH Cosmetics. It has some contouring, some bronzing, highlighting, and this lightest powder here. I'm going to dip in that and use that to set under my eye so that that concealer does not crease. I will set the center areas that I highlighted. Okay, let me dust my eyelids just a little bit. Okay, now I have another cream product I want to put on my face before we get started. We're sticking in the Rare Beauty family. This is in the shade Joy, and this is Selena Gomez's cream blush. Dip it in here. It's very, very pigmented, so a little goes a long way. You only need a little bit. And you can blend it out with a brush or with a sponge, either way. Let's see, I'm going to use my sponge. It's super pigmented. It'll look heavy at first, but it blends out really nicely. And then you can lighten it up in a couple ways. Your powder will lighten it. Just a little dab in the middle of the face. Here's the clean edge, but I don't want my nose pink. And I like blush. I like a nice flushed look. Alright, I think that looks cute. I love this color. It's like a little peachy pink. Alright, now that we've got all the cream products on, we're going to set the rest of the face down. And I'm going to be using the Haley's Retouch Perfecting Powder, Loose Setting Powder. And this is translucent. Couple taps. Get some in the cap. Then I'm going to take my e.l.f. Beauty Blender and I'm going to tap it in there. And tap a little here. A little under my eye too, even though I have a little bit there already. Just in my T-zone. I want to set that really, really well. I don't really like to bake because I don't want my face to look too cakey and dry, even though I know this is a little bit like that. And I just set that, and then I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and just kind of dip and tap in the rest and swirl just to set everything else. My skin is combination, but more oily than not, so setting is good. So if you're a more dry person, you don't need to set everywhere, just where you feel like you need it. I'm gonna do my eyebrows next, and then we'll do some face contouring. For my eyebrows, I'm gonna use a couple products. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Ultra Precise. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, there we go. e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. I'm gonna comb my hairs up and kind of get them in order first. I don't have very heavy brows, so I take a little lighter approach to just kind of, not outlining them solid, but just enough to fill them in. And I don't know why I scrunch my eyebrows down like this when I do it, just to get the G shape. brows are probably my least favorite. I think they're the most difficult. Doing a real light fill-in is not too bad. Getting those little flicks of hair here in the front, I'm not very good at that. I always think it looks a little heavy. And you know your eyebrows cannot be the same. They gotta be different. They like you to flick up. They tend to flick up to down. It's okay. Alright. That little smudge. There we go. I like to take the spoolie and just kind of blend all the strokes in. Comb it out, especially in the front. I like to blend those little flicks so they look more like hairs. Today I'm going to do a little extra on the brows, and I'm going to use a little pomade. This is Tinted Brow Pomade from NYX's Tame and Frame. I have this in the shade Brunette, which I tried an e.l.f. one and it was way too dark. So this is a nice color brown. Kind of dark and chocolatey, but not warm. So your brows don't look like an orangey red brown. I want them just to be dark, but not black. So I just dip a little bit in there and just start shaping them up. Just kind of sticks to the hairs and lays them down. Don't need too much. I'll leave it a little lighter in the front because you want it to be a little darker on the tail. Dip it again, do the other side. I always feel like on one side I cannot get like the pointy tail. With this side I did pretty good. This side, maybe I should go backwards. Nope, that was the wrong thing to do. So sometimes then I just take my finger and kind of get it down to a point. Sisters not cousins, that's what they say. So that is all I'm gonna do. If you like the really sculpted look, you'll take another real thin angled brush and then outline them in concealer to shape them up. But I like it a little more natural, so I think this looks pretty good. This one could be better. Well, sometimes with brows, I've taken that if it's not going good, stop. You don't want to go too far. Alright, and the last thing for the brows is, this is some by NYX. It's a Tinted Brow Mascara. And it has a teeny little brush on the end. And I'm gonna just use this to set the brows. Sweep the front ones real upward so they stand up straight, and then comb the back down so it lays nice and flat. Same thing on the other side. And that's it. And then that'll set. And it keeps them from looking all powdery after we did all the other stuff to our face. Now, let's move on, and we are actually going to use the Belgian Waffle palette that I'm using the mirror in to do some face shaping. I'm going to use a little mix of these two colors just to bronze up the face. I'm going to take a fluffy brush still. An angled one might be better, but I'm going to use this one. Kind of just dab it in both. And kind of go where the hollows of your cheeks would be. I don't really have any. My face is pretty round. So hopefully this creates a little bit of that for me. A little around the forehead. I like to take and do a little just down the sides. It's not a super precise nose contour, but just a little down the sides. And then a little under my lower lip. That creates a shadow. That kind of makes your lip look a little bigger. And you can also take a little and do the jawline. And that helps hide, make the jawline more pronounced, and then hide like a double chin. Just go right under there, make that look darker. And then make sure you blend this out really, really well, or else you look like you have a line around your neck. I'll do that with that brush. And then I'll take a big fluffy brush and do it again just to make sure, because I hate that line. Alright, I'm going to mix in another bronzer. This is the Maybelline City Bronzer, and this is in the shade 200. I'm going to take the same brush and do a little bit of a deeper, just to try to contour that a little more. So you should go from your ear toward the corner of your lip. A lot of new videos and people I've been watching, they've been going up a little higher. And see, it kind of cuts your cheek in a little more. Alright, that's that. Now, we are going to highlight. I'm going to take a little domed brush, and I'm going to use this first highlight here. This is called Powdered Sugar. This is what it looks like. It's very pretty. There it goes. It's a beautiful highlight. It's really bright. And I'm going to run that across the top of my cheek. If you have a lot of texture on your skin, try to avoid the texture with the highlight because it just makes it more pronounced. As you can see, that's a nice highlight. I'm going to take a little highlight right down the center of my nose, down the bridge, skip a little bit, and then I do the tip. I'm going to do a little on the forehead, it wraps around, a little on the cupid's bow, a little bit on the chin, not too much on the chin or it looks a little crazy. Take a little fluffy brush, and I actually will take that and blend, try to blend in the highlighter and the blush and bronzer all together. So it just looks more seamless. Alright. Now, once that is all the powder products, the only thing we have left to do is eyes and lips. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some setting spray because this is going to just let all that set down. This is by Joah, Selfie Ready, the Dewy setting spray. It has a super, it's a really fine mist. I really like it. And it's not real fragrancy either. Something light and clean, but nothing crazy. And that will set all our products and take the powder and kind of make it blend in so nothing looks super powdery or cakey. And that always looks nice. For the eyes, today I'm going to be using two palettes. I'm going to use the Nudie 2, and I may also dip into the Nudie Patootie, which is the original. You can see how it's much bigger. The Nudie Patootie is by LauraLee Los Angeles. I love her palette. Beautiful colors, some shimmers, some mattes, some glitter. And this is Nudie 2. Very beautiful. I'm going to start with the Nudie 2, and I'm going to start with this color right here. This one is called Rum, and it's like a little peachy shade. And I'm going to use a little fluffy blending brush. I'm going to dust it on my inner wrist before I use it, just to make sure there's no old powder on it, because I don't clean them every time I use them, just to get anything extra off. Then I'm going to dip that into there and go into the crease. And I kind of go wide with it, since this is like a more neutral transition shade that we're starting with. And you can't blend too much. So I do some windshield wiper motions. And I'll do some little buffing circles too, just to make sure everything is super blended. I like it to come out here right past where my eye is. So I'll blend it out this way. Not really getting onto the lid of my eye, because I'm going to put some other shadows down there. Alright, so next I'm going to go in with something just a little darker. This is this color right here. It's called Low Cut. I'm going to take the same brush and just real lightly tap it in, because I'm going to put this in the crease, but very controlled, not buffing it out so far. An even smaller brush might be nice for this, but I'm going to stick to my actual crease. My lids are kind of hooded, so the first one always blend up higher so that you can really see the shadow. So for this, I will do a little circle, but I'm not really moving the brush too far, because I don't want it going up so far. Dip a little more for the other eye. Do we think they look even? I think they look pretty good. And sometimes I'll take just a clean blending brush. This one's a little bigger and fluffier. And then I'll kind of just go over it to kind of blend those two colors together and even out that crease, the first one, and towards the eyebrow. Just make sure those two are blended together. But I don't want to take, if I use the other brush, I would take more of the darker color up with me, and I don't want to do that. Okay, that looks good. Now, I'm going to take a much smaller brush. This is a flat shader brush. It's kind of fat, but a little fluffy. Let's see if it'll focus. Come on. Little shader brush. It's flat but a little fluffy, just on the tip. And this, I want to add a little darkness, so I'm going to take this really dark plum purple color. It's called Risque, and I'm just going to gently tap the tips. I'm not smearing into it or even swiping, just tapping the tip. And I'm going to go just along the edge of the eyelashes and up into barely, about the width of this brush into the crease. Kind of make it and darken this little outer triangle. And you can layer that up as dark as you want it to be. I just want to have a little bit more of a shadow there. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Get a little closer so you can see. A little more on the side. And I'm just kind of patting it in there and slightly blending the edges out, but I don't want the dark to get too far on me. So after I get it kind of where I want it, I'm going to take, not that brush, I'm going to take that clean, big fluffy brush we had, the blender, and I'm going to do a little blending of the dark into the crease and towards the lid. Same thing on both sides. Just make sure that all is really blended together and seamless. And we can clean up the edges around here when we're done too if we like. Now I'm going to take, I want to do a shimmer on shimmery shade on the lid. And for this one I'm going to go in with this shade right here called Skimpy. I'm going to use a different, I'm cleaning it off, a different flat shader brush, but it's more compact, not fluffy. And I'm going to take that and dip it in the Skimpy and start to place that on the lid. Some shimmers will go on really good with a brush and you don't need anything else. But sometimes if you want them to pop more, you can use your finger to apply them. It always has a better color payoff. Or you can actually wet your brush and dip into it. And I want this to really stick to just my lid area, blending it into that dark crease color. I mean outer corner color, not crease color. Alright, so here's what we've got. Try to get a little closer. I think it can be a little more shimmery, so I'm going to take my finger, dip it in. You can see that color. It's a real pretty metallic pink. And I'm going to start in the middle and kind of work towards the corner. Much more shimmery. Same thing on the other side. And you can kind of build it on as much as you like. And then once I get it on, I'll go back to my original brush and kind of dip back in there and just pat down the edges, make sure they're blended. And I'll go back to my clean fluffy brush, which isn't that clean anymore, and just blend that corner and crease to make sure the shimmer and all that connects well. So that's what this looks like. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit. I'm just going to take another flat shader brush, but this is a much skinnier one. This is from a brush set from LauraLee Los Angeles, also L17. I'm going to dip this in the first darker crease color we used, low cut, just tapping the tip And we're going to go under this lower lash line. There's a little bit of fallout on my cheeks, but that's going to dust right off. Work that across the lower lash line. Keeping it close to the lashes. This also helps kind of conceal some of those fine lines under your eyes. And I try to connect to that outer corner. And if you want to, you can dip a little bit in the Risque, which was the darkest, and just pat the outer corner where it connects to drop it under the eye just a smidge. And I'm also going to take a little bit of the first color we used, Bum, the peachy flesh color, and I'm going to just use that to buff all this together. Kind of mutes it a little bit, blends it together, keeps with the vibe. Now, I'm going to go back to our little clean brush, the fluffy brush, and I'm just going to blend out this under eye to make sure everything looks smooth and shaded, and I'm going to cut up here where I want that shadow to stop. And then I'm going to take my bigger powder brush and just sweep away any fallout. And that looks really good. Now we're going to take, this is a really teeny dome brush. Better back here. And I'm going to go back to our Belgian waffle palette, and I'm going to dip this in the lightest shimmer shade, and we're going to do our inner corner just on both sides, just to brighten that up. If you really want your lid to pop even more bright, you can put some of the highlighter on there also. And then I'll also take just the tip of it and hit just right under the arch of my brow. Not like the whole brow, just mostly fading it out a little, but I want it just to hit right under the arch and emphasize that. You can also go back with your clean brush and just kind of make sure that's nice and blended. Touch up under the eyes. And there's the inner corner highlight, which looks really pretty. That looks pretty good. Now, let's move on to the eyelashes. The first thing we're going to do is curl them, and this is an eyelash curler by Surat. When I was looking for one, I was just kind of curious, are they really different from each other? Is there a best one? They said this one was really good, so I got it. It wasn't super expensive, even though it's a nice brand. And I'm just going to gently curl, a little bit of pumps there, my eyelashes. This one looks good. Don't pinch your skin. You will know if you did. My eyelashes are pretty small. Now we're going to take some mascara, which is the Mabelline Sky High. It's one of their newer mascaras, and it is wonderful. I love, love, love it. So I'm going to take that and do my top eyelashes. Try to just get one good coat on there. I'm not doing any eyeliner today. Not on my lid anyway. Let that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to dip it again and do one more coat. I like it because it lengthens them and it also separates them. I really don't like when lashes get super clumpy. It's got a pretty pointy tip. You can reach those little inner ones. And if you get close, it looks pretty good compared to no mascara. I'm going to do the other. These are my better eyelashes on my left eye. They're more even. I feel like they just take mascara better. Like it does what it's supposed to do. Over here, the inner tries to get a little wonky. Get those little small inner corner ones. I think I'm going to put a third coat. I'm going to do a little more. I don't want to go too far because they will get clumpy. Any mascara, if you keep putting too much on, is not going to be happy. This one doesn't want to pull up. I need to get the base of the lash there, I think. A little closer. That's pretty good for someone with small eyelashes. Now, I am using the MAC Extended Play Giga Lash because it's a really fine spoolie and it is great for doing your lower lashes. Get that on the lower lashes. Then for our lips today, I'm going to take my Joah, it's called Lip Candy Auto Lip Liner in Nude. And we're going to outline the lips. I figured a nude lip is good with Nudie Patootie. I'm not really into overlining the lips, so we're not going to do that. I'm going to take LauraLee Los Angeles. This is one of her liquid lipsticks, and this is in Jaybird. And it has a nice little kind of hooky doe foot, which hugs the lips. It's nice. And it barely takes a swipe to get it all on there. And you don't mess my top lip up a little, but that's okay. You don't need to overdo it, and it's set. And it dries down like a matte, but it doesn't feel matte or hard. It feels soft all day. It's a really nice lipstick. And now I'm going to take some NYX Butter Gloss in Fortune Cookie. And we're going to take a little bit of that just to top this off. It'll lighten it up a smidge. It's not super glossy, but it gives it a nice shiny look. Alright, and that is our finished look. I'm going to hit it one more time with some spray because I love it. Voila! Let's look up close. Don't know how close I really need to get for you guys.